All right, we are live.
Okay, excellent. So thank you all for being patient with us. We just needed a few minutes to discuss some sensitive security information regarding cameras. That has now happened. So we are back in public session. So Mr. Parker, that was the conclusion of your update. I thank you for your time. I know you had a time constraint, so thank you for joining us this evening and have a good night.
Yep. Thank you very much. And thank you for making the adjustment for me tonight. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So the next item on the agenda is a status update on instructional technology. So there were just two follow-up update questions on how the iReady MOY assessment went, as well as the Nearpod.
I will add a status update on the reopening of the school, so we can also add that topic to that one, which is current. And with your permission, so in terms of the iReady middle of the year, we're still engaged on the administration of the assessments to the children. We just working on completing that process right now. I'm gonna turn to Diego to go in more detail about the building status. Um, he also can give you an update in terms of Nearpod. We have a couple sessions just to check on the features and ensure that we are ready to attend to any demands for training. We will have some support also from the vendor to train our teachers. Our goal is to make this available to everybody, not only the secondary level that actually asks for it, but everybody should be able to use Nearpod. It's a good tool. It brings interactivity into presentations and is helpful. In terms of the update for the reopening of schools, you know that right now everybody is thinking about reopening, reopening, reopening.
Mhm.
So the first consideration for that is you need to do an assessment on what is needed because we have been out in and out for about a year. So we start looking at our replacement plan for devices that we need to replace in the classroom. We conducted an extensive inventory of interactive whiteboards, formerly smart boards. That's the name that most people know them. And also any technology like computers connected to those devices in the classrooms. We want to be sure that every classroom in our district is ready to reopen fully with all the students and the teachers have the tools available. So we engaged in a review with the business office on our funding, and we were able to secure some of the devices right now, even before getting to the summer, so we can start doing the changes. I'll give you an example. When ECP was moved to Highview and also Leah Jackson, many of those boards, right, that we place in those new locations, those new classrooms, were boards that were part of our replacement plan for aging devices. So now I need to replenish those aging devices in other schools like Woodlands, like Highview as well, Leah Jackson, and Richard Bailey. So we are basically reevaluating everything that we have and putting a priority on those items that belong to classroom. So anything for the classroom is our priority right now, and that's what we're working on. In addition to that, we are also strengthening our network appliances because we want to be sure that the connectivity will be there. A lot of our educators and students are now working remote, so they're using their own connectivity. We haven't complete some of the fiber work that we were planning during the summer last year because of the pandemic. And that means basically building a loop. And I mentioned this in previous meetings to ensure that there is a secondary connectivity. So if something happens with the main hub of the internet, not the entire district will be disconnected. There will be a secondary connection to help us keep that going. So all this work is in process right now. And at the same time, we need to have more coordination with facilities because any plans that you have in the facilities committee, for example, will affect us because we need to do wiring. We need to ensure that the connectivity is in those areas. And that's the work that we started last Monday when we had the coordination with the business office, facilities,
Mhm.
Mr. Falcon and Ms. Raymond. And I can report it's good. We have an idea exactly of what we can do. I believe that the district and the board is expressing this multiple times. You want to have a long-term plan and an immediate plan. You want to have something that you can actually put your hands on immediately, attending to the needs of the ECP, attending to the immediate needs. And as you well know, demanding basically the world demands permits, demands filing, demands getting into a whole process with SED. We're looking for new construction or extensions. But if we have something that is already granted permits, reopening is simply looking to be in compliance with ventilation, all the different requirements that the state have put in place. So we're working in collaboration with Mr. Falcon on that in that sense, and we have plans for also attending to some of the issues at DCP, like moving the rack or the connectivity from one area to another area, so there is no exposure for that, in support of what they're doing in preparation for reopening schools. So whatever is the decision of the board, we will be ready. And that's our moment right now. We're doing a full assessment in that direction. Diego, do you want to extend a little bit on the iReady report by building and the NEARPAD?
Sure. So we are almost done with the middle of year assessment. Tomorrow we will be doing the middle school math portion. All the other schools are done. We are just now in those makeups, those students that missed the originally scheduled diagnostic. And so we should have some data come next week once we start to see the makeups being finished. We had to improvise a little bit due to the closure of Bailey going remote. So we had to kind of continue scheduled. So although those students this week from Bailey had their assessment remote, the B cohort did it with the classroom teachers, and then the remote students, as originally scheduled, did it with Ms. Laura DeAndrea and myself. We had 4th, 5th, and 6th grade separated, and we administered the diagnostic to them. Jackson and Highview did it in person, and the remote in the same manner. We'll have to now just compile the data once we feel that all the students have participated. Once tomorrow happens with the middle school, we'll be able to run reports and see where we are in terms of the results. And then the second item of Nearpod, again, we have fully deployed Nearpod in our environment and to all our users. We have those people that were already using the free version switching over to take advantage of the full paid version of Nearpod. The struggle that we're having is just getting the training scheduled, simply because of the backlog of trainings that are already scheduled way before Nearpod came about. We had training in Castle Learning. We've had training in Newsella. There was another Friday that was the Writing Revolution, where a lot of teachers were tied up with that. So since Fridays are about the only day available, it's kind of looking towards the next available Friday to schedule in that training. The training will most likely be done by myself. I will be running the Nearpod training. I've had some Nearpod training myself. I've been a big fan of Nearpod for a long time, and so I'll be probably running most of the sessions, taking advantage of how the PLCs meet on Fridays, and do it by grade, so we don't have a large group, and we're actually able to deliver some meaningful training, and people can actually ask questions and get something out of it. It's very difficult to achieve that when you have 50, 60 people in a Zoom call and trying to learn a program, right? Where everybody has different levels, different comforts with the technology. So by doing it in smaller groups, you're actually able to reach people and make them feel comfortable with software. So that's where we are with those two items.
Perfect. Thank you for that update. Appreciate it. All right.
I wanted to add something, Mr.
problem.
Pineda.
I had one question.
Sure, go ahead.
Back on the ECP main building, I was told that at certain points in time, and it may be only when they kick in the auxiliary heater that we probably don't want to use. Are there any power limitations that have any effect on the technology, or under normal circumstances, is everything okay?
Well, it's a twofold answer. The same way that the question is a twofold question. Normally we have no issues in terms of power, but there is a situation that is endemic with dirty power that comes all the way even to the high school. We had done an assessment on that. Facilities already know that there is an issue on this, but in order to resolve this, we will have to have an alternative source of power, right? So if there is a loss of power or there's an outage, we don't really have generators or anything like that. So we were looking at doing this segmented, something that will protect just the network appliances, like what we have right now is battery backups with our UPSs.
Mhm.
It's sufficient for a few hours, but then if there is no power, well, definitely it will go off. And the same situation happens when you go all the way from there to the extension of DCP or even the mansion when it was in operation, right? Uh, I think that more work needs to be done in terms of that, and for a solution instead of the band-aid, we have to work together on that, and it demands some finances, some investment. I think that Mr. Facon has detailed plans on that, and probably he shared already with the committee in previous meetings. But at this point, our focus should be on the reopening, and we're trying to do everything that to be prepared for that. Um, I can only tell you what we're planning so far, but we are going to have to look at some of the resources. So there is definitely good coordination with the business office.
Once you said that under normal circumstances, when the power is on, that things don't brown out, then I'm good for reopening. So
Thank you.
the short term, the long term. Good.
Yes, we had to work on both. We had to work on both. So I wanted to refer a little bit on what Diego shared with everybody about the different solutions that we have during the pandemic. We empower our educators with a lot of resources. Castle Learning, Learning Explorer. We have a myriad of resources and training software to them and everything. Nearpod is probably the latest addition to this. Our team is now engaged in a full evaluation of the programs. Because if we go to reopening and in person, many of these will be used, but in a different sense. To support instruction, to do homework, to do after-hour programs, things like that. Because you're going to have direct instruction anyway. The time will be probably more dedicated to that interaction between teachers and students. So we're evaluating all these programs, and we're evaluating that and how that will affect our budgets as well. So we can save some money and redirect the money to other areas that will strengthen our educational approach to the in-classroom, in person. We will do that, but without leaving anything that is important for the educators out. And I just wanted to mention that to you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. All right. So the next item on our agenda is Chromebook distribution and ongoing replenishment, a malfunctioning device status update.
Yes, I'll take this one. Hello, everyone. When this pandemic first started, we started to have a list of about 120 students. As of right now, we are down to about 30 students. So we are focusing on doing more deployments. We recently just had a deployment, I believe last week. We decided to have more deployments because we realized that sometimes parents cannot come on that particular day, right? And we're trying to be safe and not have parents just come to the building just randomly. And we're trying to do it by schedule. So that being said, tomorrow, March 12th, we'll be doing another deployment at Highview. The following week, March 19th, we'll be doing a deployment at Leaf Jackson. And on March 26th, we'll be doing a deployment at Bailey. The 26th will be the last day for these deployments. After that, we will be doing case by case with seeing the students, seeing the devices, and taking care of it. We say that because we've come to realize that not every Chromebook needs a complete replacement. Sometimes it's just a screen malfunction, and we're completely able to do that. A parent came by a couple of days ago, and she says, my screen's all frizzy. I don't know what's going on. I may need a new Chromebook. I looked at it. I popped up on the screen, plugged it back in, brand new. Didn't need a replacement. So there are a couple of those that we as technicians can take care of on the spot, or even a couple of days, and we can call the parent and they can come by and pick it up. So that being said, right now we do have enough Chromebooks to give to all of these students, especially the new students that are coming in. I think this week, well, actually today, I heard there are 2 new students at Jackson and then another new student at Highview. We're able to supply these students with a new device right there once we create the paperwork and create their accounts.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for that update.
Sure.
Just to refer about the enrollment, as you probably know, our enrollment is expected to increase. So we start seeing some of the results of these meetings to start pre-registrations, and everything starts at ECP because that's kind of the opening door for the district. So we want to be sure that we are ready for new students, not only with tablets at ECP, but also with Chromebooks for grades K to 12. We actually ordered 50 more to have enough replenishment for the entire year. And that should be sufficient for what we have. We're still using everything that we can reuse and recycle and refurbish. And like what Neo mentioned is there are some with minor damages, like a minor malfunctions. It could be keyboards and all that can be replaced in-house. So we are very diligent on keeping with our own devices, district-owned devices, and keeping it up to standard. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. The next agenda item was technology and facilities coordination, which Mr. Ramirez already touched on a bit. I'm not sure if there's anything else you wanted to add or if that was sufficient.
So at the end of the conversation with the business office, and I don't know if you received that email, we actually wanted to suggest and recommend to the 2 committees, the Finance and Facilities Committee and the Safety and Technology, to have a joint meeting, because we will need to have that kind of coordination in the coming months if we really want to have everything ready for the reopening of schools. So I don't know if Ms. Raymond already made that recommendation, but I just wanted to share with you that was our first assessment after discussing all the different items that we discussed.
I attempted to talk to Ashley about on the fly, because we have a really quick thing that has to happen for our recommendation on the 16th, that we would come in here and have an agenda item. But we decided that it would be better to go a little slower on that and have a separate meeting for me right after this one. So we're getting closer, but a little more will merge. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Look, the purpose of this is basically to be sure that in any planning, like for example, we are looking at kind of put an expedite on the vestibule at the high school project. As you know, that was part of the funding from the Smart Schools Bond, and it was redirected to the vestibule and the infrastructure, and it's being dormant at the state level. Even when they did the massive approvals during the pandemic to all plans, this plan wasn't even touched. So needs some massage, needs time to review. We need to make it look like what it is and what it's going to attend in terms of providing for the district. So I'm going to review it. I'm going to work with that, with Lisa on that, and we will get back to you very soon.
And
be aware, be
aware that there should be a wheelchair ramp associated with that, and the cost of that is about $250K. And while the money for the vestibule itself, you spend it and then you get it back. The money for the wheelchair ramp is gone. You spent it, you spent it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for that. Moving forward, I think that in a future meeting, we can definitely put something together, as David had alluded to. It didn't seem like it was practical with the short timeline to get everyone on the same page, especially because the 2 committees function a little differently, right? Since this is the Safety and Technology Committee, it's more of the committee meets here directly and then we stream everything, versus the Finance and Facilities Committee, where everyone's kind of in the same Zoom meeting participating at the same time. So we thought it would be a little challenging to combine the 2 of them on the fly, but we can definitely, hold on one second. We can definitely, sorry for that. We can definitely plan something for the future where we can have a combined one that maybe follows more along the lines of the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting format, so that all the questions can get addressed and make that a joint, so we can keep this moving forward.
Good.
All right. And then the last thing that was on our agenda for discussion this evening, the Greenburgh CSD website, if there's any plans for upgrades. I know we've had conversations in the past about it. I think one of the other committees has brought it up a little bit too. So I figured it made sense. I don't know if that conversation is still ongoing, but I figured it made sense to bring it up here on the Safety and Technology Committee, and we could just have a general discussion about it.
I can
Yeah.
add some things to that. On the communication committee, we created a subcommittee to just specifically review usage of the website. I think, you can't satisfy everyone, but I think there's some ease of use that probably needs to be addressed so that when people have to find something, it's at this place and people know it. So our subcommittee and Laser, you tell me if I'm missing anyone. I believe it's me, Samantha Ives from is it Leah? No, is it Highview PTA? I think Highview PTA. There is Laser.
I think it's Miguel, Evelyn,
Evelyn, and
Jackie.
I thought it was one other person. I can't remember. But that's the subcommittee. We just have to get together. I know we have like a Google Doc that you can add ideas and different things like that. So that's where we are. We're going to be trying to just, I guess, peruse the website, identify any areas that we can make some improvements on. That's as far as that committee. I do have something separate to ask though, in regards to the website. Oh, can I ask it? Should I wait?
Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, I know that I can't remember where I saw this, but there are some other like districts, and I think I like this idea, especially if we're going to be living in COVID for a little bit longer. I say a little bit longer optimistically, but that they have like a I don't want to call it it's almost like a COVID dashboard that people can instantly go and it's consistently updated. So you always find out some of the things that are happening. I'll try to find the school district that I was talking about, but I think that might be helpful. I think, of course, all the messaging that goes out is great, but if someone had like this sort of dashboard, they can go there and they can find out, hey, all different things of what's happening in regards to COVID in our district. I think that would be helpful too. That's
Yeah,
my.
I think we just have it because right now it's called Reopening GCSD, the tab. It could probably be renamed COVID because it's everything is on there that all the updates that we put.
Yeah, I think like I said, I'll try to send it because I think it's good to have updates, but updates like I think one of the things I saw somewhere, if there was cases, right, you can tap on that and you know
the
about
state
it.
does it, right?
Yeah.
And you can drill down. The question is there some way to hook into that such that you pre-drill down just to our local stuff?
Oh, that would be good. I don't know. This is this is your realm of technology. I have no idea, but that sounds like a good idea.
That sounds to me like which database is talking to which database.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta.
And do we have access to that database? But that's a whole other conversation.
So that was my idea.
There's a sublink and you know the URL and it goes there and retrieves the data, or is there more to it?
But
the town
that's a good idea.
Yeah, the town or the county has something, then we could probably link back to it. I'll look at that, see what the county and the town have.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Antoinette, if you can send us the reference, that'd be great, so we know exactly what you're talking about.
All right, thank you.
David, it seemed like you had something to mention about the website.
No, I was about to mention that Antoinette had a subcommittee.
Oh, okay,
and
perfect.
she took off with it, so yeah.
Perfect. All right, so the other thing I wanted to ask about the website, I think it was pre-COVID, because forgive me with the timing with COVID and everything, it's hard to tell time at this point. But pre-COVID, we had talked about some potential back-end changes we needed to do with the website infrastructure. Not sure if that's happened or if that's still in the plans or anything along those lines.
Yeah, we did start. The perfect example I could give right now is the IB page. I don't know if you can browse to that. Because that would be a perfect example of what changes were made.
Yeah.
So the IB page is no longer hosted on the website. It's now a Google site. So it was Miguel, myself, and two of the IB teachers. So if you go to the website under academics, and I think it's International Baccalaureate. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's no longer hosted on our site. That's the Google site. So the plan is to slowly move a lot of these pages. What this does also is put the power in to make changes in Brendan's hands. That he doesn't have to keep contacting me, I need to make a change. It's now a Google site. So he just signs in with his Google account and he can make, so what we done was just did the design piece. The colors, make it look pretty, and then he takes over from there. So the plan is to do that with everyone in a sense.
If I were to suggest something, for several years, I would go to the Woodlands and try and get them to post their course offerings. And and they were always a little behind on what their coursework was going to be. And anytime I stopped doing it, it just disappeared from the website again. So if you could farm that out to guidance or something such that they can update it, that would be a great thing.
So the goal is to try to get everything on Google's site and just have those departments handle it, because it's almost like, not like I'm a middle person. It's like a lot of steps where someone could just, if they're in Google, they just make the changes. For example, the course catalog, and it's updated.
Yeah.
They don't have to reach out to me. Hey, I made a change. Can you post? Once they hit save or publish, it's there already.
No, that's great. Do you happen to know if I'm presuming, but I don't know, are we making those pages mobile responsive? In other words, do they scale well on mobile devices and
yes,
all that?
Google update. Yeah, Google made that change over the past year, and actually it looks really good. Actually, with iPads and it just scales automatically.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, perfect. So that was the only question I had about the website. Does anybody else have any other feedback or questions on the website, other than the subcommittee that's working on their project? Okay. So that's all I had for the published agenda. Is there anything anyone wants to bring up?
We didn't touch on the Microsoft piece. I know we talked about it 2 or 3 meetings ago. Carlos, we just added the Office A3 licenses, which basically gives teachers and users the options to download. Before Office 365 was just online. So now with the A3 license, it gives them the option to download Office and have it installed on their local machine. So that was the first half of the Microsoft update that we did.
So if I may add on that one, we receive requests from many teachers that they don't have the ability to use Microsoft at home. They use Google, largely for instructional, but they wanted to have the ability to do a downloading Word document or Excel document, and they didn't have the application. We currently have a license that is Office 365 for education that allows for licenses like the A3 license that Laser just referred. I will allow a teacher using the Greenburgh account to download a copy of the software and also sign into the software with that same login, which is the Gmail account from the district, to perform work at home. The moment that they log out, well, that license goes away as well. They can always use it just to, basically do their work. And they can add other documents as they want, but they need to be logged with the account from the district.
Got it. That's great. That's very helpful.
Was there a listserv request, like an $8,000 item that would allow us to track, I guess, not just the parent?
Not track, but whoever our voting body, right? Laser, our voting body, if that's what we wanted to do. Sort of like what the town has, we would have something
Oh,
like
you're
that
talking
as
about
well.
Civic Plus, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's up to you guys at this point. I mean, I want it for you guys because it'll make my life a little easier.
Laser, do you remember?
Is it in the budget?
It's not in the budget, but
Mm-mm.
did we as a community, is that, because that's under communications, David, did we say we wanted to recommend that?
That was supposed to be forwarded to the board, yes.
I think I did, or did I send it to you, Antoinette? I could forward to the board.
And then, so you have a set of planning, and we winnowed our way down from a 3% tax levy increase to a 2% tax levy increase. The question is, did that get put in the hopper or not? Did it make it? Did it not make it?
What, the actual civic use?
Civic Plus, yeah.
Yeah. I don't, like I said, I don't think so. Laser, know what you can do? Could you forward that? You can CC me on it, but send it to Tracy. She's the chair. And as a committee, we did agree on this. Am I correct?
Yeah, we did.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, send it to, because even though it'll be in the notes, she may not, it's in the notes, but if you can send it to her as this is something that needs to be recommended to the board.
Okay, I'll forward that.
I believe that if we work in the enhancements to the website and we add Civic Plus, that will go as a package. Because that's really is an enhancement to the website.
Okay. Yeah, you know, you can look at the
okay.
Yeah, you can look at the town's website to see how they have it embedded. It's done very nicely. Yeah,
okay, so this is embedded into there. Okay, that sounds even better. So yeah, Laser, send, it's just CC me and David, because we're all, me, David, and Tracy. Well, no, you're sending it to Tracy, you're CCing me and David on there, since we're also the committee board representatives, and just send it and say, you know, this, at our last meeting, we were supposed to extend this recommendation to the board.
Okay.
So we need to do that.
Great.
Something else popped in my head while we were talking about it. I can't remember.
Just a question on that. In that subcommittee, are you guys also talking about searching for things on the website?
Yes, that was one of the things too.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So when I was saying like ease of use, is that type of thing. Even me, I found when I was looking for something, I went to where I thought it would be, but it wasn't. And I reached out to Laser and he told me where it was, or I'll reach out to Ivy and she'll tell me where it is. And it's sort of makes sense there too, but it's ease of use is kind of thinking like what in general makes sense for the average person looking. So yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
So the whole purpose of doing this departmentalized serves that goal, because now you will have, like, for example, what David referred in terms of the course catalog. The course catalog is on the website. It's just not visible.
You
You
can't
search for it, you don't find it. If we
You know,
have,
where do you find it? Because I've been looking under the school.
It's on the parents and students.
right.
Yeah, it's just listed there.
So that's the situation. If we do it by departments, then the let's say the Woodlands Middle High School, you know, like counseling department counselors, they have that website where they have all the graduation requirements, all the course catalog, all the information in terms of the sequence as well. Because, you know, the sequence is something that we would like to have in our website that shows what the student is doing in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, or what is recommended. And you can have multiple paths, because you need to identify what is good for an ELL student, what is good for, you know, for also special education and everything. Thank you for that. We have a job to do, and it's a good challenge.
There it is.
I agree. I think it would be a good idea for I mean, even Carlos or any tech people on the team, if there is a website that you've seen that, you know, the subcommittee could look at, like for ideas, that will be helpful too. You know, I'm going to look up some anyway and say, hey, I like this about that, you know, because when you see what others are doing, you kind of you might look at something differently and get some ideas.
Yeah, I think
to help.
what we have to come up with is sort of like, because, you know, you, for example, David may be looking for the course catalog under the schools, and you may be looking for it on their parents and students. So it's almost like,
Yep.
you know, people think differently.
Exactly.
So it's almost like you need a quick find or a index page or something, you know, that lists,
Yeah.
which, you know, something general that everyone could kind of understand. Okay, this is where you would go if you can't find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a full text index search,
Yeah, even that too. Yep.
right? Because the index, some of us will get that right off the bat, but others may not.
Yeah.
Not so much.
I have to say that migrating to Google Sites will take that immediately.
Yeah, it
because
would,
Google
yeah.
already has that embedded in there. The engine is there.
Awesome.
So it's a process. We will get there.
Okay. And then the last thing I just thought of is once the board approves the data privacy policy and the latest Parents' Bill of Rights, we had talked about a separate page on our website that would delineate all that clearly for the parents. I guess the tech team is waiting on the board to approve that. But in the interim, you could probably get the page together and just not stand it up yet, right? Just so that when you finally get our approval, you can just launch.
We have all the components ready.
Awesome.
We've been working on those, and actually, I can tell you what the board needs to approve is the district privacy policy, and then after that, everything is all in that hierarchy because we have the model contracts for our vendors. We have the actually Parent Bill of Rights that will be posted on the website with the updates in alignment with Ed Law 2D. So it's all ready. It's just a question of finishing the review and getting the approval. We can start doing if you want a mock-up website, you know, like web page with what will go in there as a preparation for the actual release at the time that you get the approval.
Yeah, that would be
We
great.
can start working on that. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so it is 6:36 p.m. according to my Mac laptop. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but in any event, is there a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor, come on, tech team.
Aye.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you for this wonderful information. Thank you to the IT team for continuing the hard work that we've seen you doing every single time we have this conversation. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate you putting our children first and keeping that moving forward. And everyone have a great night. Thank you.
Good night.
7:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.